coming in, Cam.
Thank you.
From
Thank you.
Bootleggers. You've actually bought your cans as well.
Yes.
So
nice fresh cold. We can actually, crack it open. See that
I'm
beautiful
going to.
sound of Bootleggers can opening. And the fun thing about this that is not carbonated, right? So you can, shake it, make it, whatever.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Oh,
nice.
That's refreshing.
Yes.
So, not only you're a DJ, you're an event planner, you're the whole package when it comes to the electronic music scene. And also, you've introduced your brand Bootleggers as well. So, where did your journey begin into music, and how did it evolve, to become all this sort of package? Where did it all sort of start and begin?
Well, first of all, hi everybody. Thanks for having me. And it's been an interesting journey in the last few years, especially last year. And I'm really glad that I've had an opportunity to kind of get a little bit more into the scene and, mix and mingle with a lot of good, talented musicians and DJs and producers in the city and people who are in the scene active and doing good things and helping bringing that experience that electronic music has a very key role in it out in the city and, expand it basically, because that's, as we all know, Vancouver has been always famous for missing that element, right?
Yeah.
And but anyways, my journey started. I used to be a professional engineer back in time, right? You're an engineer too, I know.
Yeah.
And I worked for about 10 years. So but I had a dream to replicate, not exactly, but the feelings, that emotional experience that I was always getting when I traveled to Europe and South America and go to a festival or by the beach to a cool event or a party, or even on the hospitality scene of it when I would go to a nice hidden cocktail bar in London or in Barcelona, right?
Yeah.
And and I found as I was going through these experiences in my 20s, and I had that luxury of being an engineer at a young age was that I had a good job, and I was I was making good enough money for my age, and I started using that money to travel rather than buying a house. Right? That was my choice, right? And I made that choice, and I enjoyed every moment of every experience I did and I had. And through all of that self-discovery experiences, basically, right, I really felt like I can't travel 24/7. It's too expensive and there's no time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So but our city where I live, it's missing this. Is the missing element is really you come back from your trip, you feel a hole inside you, right? And you need to fill it up.
Yeah.
And then that's tough. So I'm a doer. So I felt at some point that I'm connecting, really vibing with these whole experiences that are around music and art and people and the social settings of life in a higher vibration model that we're going to talk about. And if nobody else does it, I'm going to do it.
Exactly.
And so I'm going to do it.
Exactly. So sorry about that.
No worries.
Do a little microphone adjustment there, but
so I decided that I want to make my dream a reality. I want to create an experience that encompasses all those experiences that I've had personally throughout my travels and things that I've done and people I've met in life. Really repeat the goosebump and remake the goosebump moment that is heavily triggered by music as one of the key elements of this creative cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Also alcohol and an elevated food and beverage experience, especially with the trigger of alcohol, is a big, accelerated trigger in this experience to make the experience more digestible.
Yeah.
The influence is faster, easier. The barrier, that guard that human has in the beginning on a social setting drops with, a good cocktail. And also cocktail has a social side to it. So it kind of brings that social side. And, when you go to a nightclub or a rave, you see a lot of people are just dancing on their own, which is great, or with talking to their friends. But we're always missing that a little bit more social interaction between different groups that I come in, right? I've always noticed that all around the world, right?
Yeah.
So if you go alone and you don't have your friends and everybody has their own friends, it's kind of like a little segregated, it's a little uncomfortable in the beginning. And then sometimes you talk and you meet good friends and lots of good friends, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But this helps, this cocktail and alcohol and that kind of vibe helps breaking that down, opening it to all, and everybody can talk to everybody. It's kind of more comfortable to mix and mingle and be a collective group rather than just me and my two friends and she and her two friends and my other friend and her two friends, right? Anyways, that was the start of the journey. And the first project 5 years ago, I decided that I want to do this. And the first thing I wanted to do was actually opening this permanent facility, which had 3 different rooms, and I called it a creative space. It had 3 different rooms based on 3 different art themes.
Yep.
And it was utilized as a cafe bar restaurant for revenue, but also each room had a different music theme and always live music or DJ and a little bit of a dance floor involved with it. One of the rooms more heavier on the dance, one of them less.
Yep.
And it was a whole beautiful experience. The idea basically was that the art is the first layer, whether it's mural. One room was based on mural, one room was based on photography, one room was based on a digital immersive experience like LED walls, right? And there was element of, and then after the art is in, all the other elements would have come to support it and pair with each other. But music was and is always the constant element of this experience. You can't remove the music. Without music, it doesn't work.
That's
basically.
true, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's how music that's why it's the biggest part of my life as well. Besides the fact that I always say music in my experiences as a bootlegger's experience that we make is an element that needs to play its role. But it's probably the most key element. If you remove it, it just doesn't work.
Yes.
That's the thing. Right?
Yes, definitely.
And so that was the start. And, on the personal level, I always obviously love music. I grew up with rock and roll and jazz and blues, right?
Yep.
And, when you talk about electronic music, we call electronic music the higher vibration music. And, it's an inevitable fact that it is the more complex and at the same time easier for production type of music. Like when rock and roll, one of the biggest elements of rock and roll was electric guitar, electric bass guitar, electric guitar for harmony, and then the synthesizer. When synthesizers hit the stage and Pink Floyd would do all those like right, you can do all of those with the effects on your mixer right now. But the guy had to actually do it on the string and with his foot adjust the sound, and like it's too much work, right? It's amazing. The talent is unparalleled, basically,
for sure,
right?
Yeah.
But now you can bundle all of those with fixed packages and in the software and produce that 10 times better with 10 times more diversity.
Yeah.
No, and I come from the rock and roll world. I come from after that punk rock and, all of that stuff. I loved everything. And even rap and hip hop. Rap and hip hop is all about the beat, right? House music comes from hip hop, right?
The 808 and the 909, yeah.
Yeah. So all of electronic music from all genres eventually comes from every other form of music. We just didn't have the technology to make it faster and easier.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. So then, the thing that happened is it became an underground a little bit, right? Now, what I'm trying to fight against at this day in time is that, look, the reason it was underground to some extent was because people love exclusivity, right? I got into it because it was, you go to Europe, you go to Berlin, you go to Paris, you go to like Shanghai, been to an underground music party in the middle of a park in Shanghai.
Yeah.
Right? It's very strange, very interesting. But that exclusivity and fun, the hidden game, now the music is at a point that it doesn't supply the demand.
Yeah.
Is not enough. You need, everybody wants the music. Everybody wants to have a good time, But most people who have not really been naturally drawn into that underground vibe to begin with now are struggling because they want to come to these events and dance and have a good time. But now everybody in the society thinks, oh, these are all after hours druggies. It's terrible. We should start cleaning up that image and sharing that experience with everybody. Music is for everybody. Art is for everybody. And that's one of the intentions that we have with our Bootleggers brand collectively, including the music side, is to connect that higher vibration music with other elements and present it in a way that is acceptable and digestible for everybody.
Because I want to include this as well, is that obviously a big fan of art and the artwork that you've put into your brand, and also just your parties in general, like your raves and stuff like that. A lot of the art is a big factor of the event and the night when it comes to the rave as well, right? So tell us a bit about how you get you get the art. Who's it done by? Is it done by yourself? And then you put that on display to obviously match the music and vice versa. Like, how do you incorporate that art?
Of course. And you know, that's actually a very good question, because a lot of people think that, okay, if I put three things together, it magically becomes something creatively connected. It doesn't work like that. If you just put a painting beside the wall and have somebody playing music and serve a sort of a cocktail, it doesn't become a connected experience of art. That's not how it works, right? Every element plays a role, and you need to put them together properly. You need to match them, right? So art is, as you said, is embedded in our brand, right? I mean, obviously you see the cans, right? The Bootleggers cans are designed by Kirash, my amazing friend and business partner, amazing artist Kirash DK.
Kirash,
you know Kirash, right? Of course. So and I asked Kirash and Jean to join, but they couldn't today. Otherwise, it would have been amazing if the three of us were all here.
We can do another one.
You can do another one, yes. And they say hi, of course. So you know, I met Kirash when Jean and I were building the cocktail brand 3 years ago, right? And he was launching his graffiti streetwear fashion line, and you know, he's a medium amazing artist at his age. Is amazing. He's mind-blowing completely, and we connected instantly. And I was like, you know what, we should launch this together and have a show, and kind of like, you know, it makes sense, you know. Cocktails are elevated. And our cocktail brand was all about art to begin with. Like we had, you know, another kind of original art piece that was kind of part of the logo in the beginning, as we were doing these cocktail kits and, you know, different cocktail elements that we were trying to make it accessible for people, as we do with the can now, you know, through delivery systems and restaurants and all that stuff, right? And the world was opening after pandemic slowly, right? So it was the right time. And then we got together and we did this cool pop-up in Gastown, which was a storefront, but we had a DJ, we had the cocktails, we had the art and fashion, and we had also sampling, and people could buy and have a drink and hang out and dance and mingle. And that was the start of this whole thing.
That's
the simple pop-up in Gastown as a storefront that you put these elements together. It was fascinating. Of course, the design was really done really well to make it happen very naturally and organically, so people come in and it's easy. That has started. And then at a time, NFTs were picking up. So Kirash, some of his art, which are the digital art, got a little bit more psychedelic vibe to it. That was perfect for NFT. So he was like, yo, I want to do NFT. I'm like, let's do. So we want to do that. You want to exhibit it. Let's do kind of an exhibition party. We bring the cocktails, we bring the art, we bring the music. We all decided to do this and design it. And he launched that Dance of Shadows brand at a time. And we were bringing our cocktail connoisseur brand up. And one thing after another, we started doing these bigger ravey looking parties that the Kirash's work was the visuals that are presented, all these elements that were part of the design were incorporated into building the cocktails with the flavor and color and the serving type, which was fun. It was like smoke and fire, right? And it went viral, right? But then we tried to go too big too fast. So we had a couple of, issues in the beginning, ticket sales. One day was good, the other day wasn't good. And we were trying to still figure out what's the, long-term vision with the product and the cocktail brand, right?
Yep.
So, and then pandemic was coming back again for the last round of it. I think it was end of 2021 and beginning of 2022. And, there was a couple of hiccups and disappointments with a couple of events we did at the time, but it did have its marketing positive effect still. And at some point through 2022, the three of us, we came together and said, you know what, it's time. We got to blend everything together, make it a uniform brand and experience. And the art of Kirash is basically the dominant kind of like the expression of the experience on the outside, and the cocktails and the flavors are on the inside, and all the party and the music and the experience, in-person experience that we design becomes, that added value that promotes the brand in the community and allows people to experience it in person and see it, and it serves us as a marketing channel, and also it builds the brand, and also it offers people a chance to experience this whole vision in person. and see how it comes together and people feel something. That's the whole thing,
Yeah.
is you're trying to make people feel something. You know, if you feel something, you get that trigger. If you get that goosebump feeling,
Yep.
then you just, you know, you get 10 of those, you start thinking about your life. You wake up, you know,
Yeah.
it's like a little shock. Maybe I want to do this. Maybe I want to do things that I love. Maybe I want to follow my dream.
Yeah.
Every 1% that can be woken up to follow their dream, our mission is accomplished.
For
That's
sure.
what we're trying to do.
With the design of Bootleggers, it's a skull is the main thing.
Yeah.
Did you come up with that design because you had that rock and roll?
No, that's
past?
Kirash.
That's Kirash. That was
complete
his.
Kirash work.
Oh wow.
But
Okay.
funny enough,
Yeah.
when we started working together, his whole vision was very compatible with my vision.
Yeah,
And just
yeah.
That's the whole thing. It came together
That's
so
what
naturally.
I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
you have that bit of that influence.
Yeah,
from
yeah,
that.
yeah. We both do, and we both came to electronic music. Like, we all like love the same thing exactly, right? And it's like you have that piece of it, and I have this piece of it, and it comes together and it complements each other, right?
Yeah.
It's like the best part of it. And it's called, on behalf of Kirash, it's called is really a representation of bringing fun into darkness. That's that's exactly what we try to do, right? We try to bring fun into darkness, bring the darkness out and make it fun and make it popular.
Yeah.
Because it's not really dark.
Yeah.
You know, in the Mexican culture, you know, they celebrate death in a way,
Mhm.
right? Skull is the symbol of that, you know, Day of the Dead. You don't die.
Yeah.
You become a different dimension, right? And it's, you know, the concept of a skull society for him was making afterlife approachable.
Yes.
Let's put it that way.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not
Okay.
that dark. And all the colors, the sharp colors and patterns that are in it, right?
Yeah.
That shows that nice funkiness, the smile, the laugh at death, you know, and it comes from his graffiti background, right? Which again pairs a lot with our whole concept of bringing art and make it entertaining. You know, fine arts sometimes are dry, and music too.
Yes.
Music is a fine art, the form of fine art. Like, but you gotta give it to people in a fun, engaging, approachable model. Then they go with it, right? You can't play hard techno for somebody who was listening to pop music forever and expect them to fall in love with it.
No, I mean
Right?
it's like the drum and bass thing. Graffiti is very associated with drum and bass.
It is that too.
You
That
know
too.
what I mean?
Actually,
So,
yeah.
like you're saying, the fact that Kirash puts this art around your vibe and party of music is a good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is why I wanted to get you on, because, like I said to you before we started recording, was we hear of all the DJs' lives and things like that, but we never hear of that's the word I was looking for, hospitality. We don't hear about the hospitality life, which does make a big portion of a night and an event that happens.
Very true. Very
And
true.
art is a big associated part of music. It always has been. Like I say, the graffiti, album covers, vinyl covers, you know, it's all part of it.
Fashion, right? There's
Fashion
fashion
as
associated
well,
with all
yeah.
sorts of music festival,
Yeah.
you know, all of that, right? So, you know, the idea behind all of this, really, the bigger concept is connecting three elements together: art, fine arts,
Mm-hmm.
nightlife,
Yep.
and hospitality.
Yep.
They're all connected,
All are,
even without, you know, somebody saying it. They're all connected. The
Yeah.
hospitality experience, without art, without music, without the fun nightlife touch,
Yep.
doesn't work, doesn't sell on its own, right? You don't want to just go sit and eat and go. You do just because you need to eat something, but that's not an experience. You don't go for that. You just go for food in that model,
Yes,
right?
yes,
But if
yes,
you
yes.
go to a restaurant or a bar for a cool night, for an experience, and pay the top dollar, there is something beyond just the food and drink.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And the food and drink itself follows a very artistic presentation as well, right?
Yeah.
Now, nightlife is the same, right? You can just go to a club, somebody plays, maybe there is a little visual or something, and go, right? But what if you can go and have a good drink, maybe have a vibe and, you know, an experience that is influenced by art,
Yes.
and at the same time enjoy the music and dance, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be only one thing.
Yeah.
Just because it's been like that forever, it doesn't mean it has to be the same forever. Right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
How do you?
And the same thing with art. Like
For
you go
sure,
to an
yeah.
art gallery,
Mhm.
right? Forever. That's my biggest thing. The biggest challenge of it has always been art, actually, not the nightlife and hospitality.
Yeah.
because nightlife and hospitality have been naturally more connected, right?
Yeah.
But the art, from the fine arts, and you go to an art gallery, you know, you get in, it's dry, you walk in, look at it for 5 minutes, and you go. There is no way you're gonna even remember what you saw.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Like, it's pointless.
It's like putting a fine wine with a nice dinner.
Yeah,
matching
right?
a drink
Or
with
with the
food,
music, or with the
music.
party.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing is, if you come in at 6 p.m. when our party starts, or 7 p.m. and it ends at midnight or 1 a.m., you come at 6, 7, 8, 99% of people who come, they don't leave until 1, right? And you're going in these cycles into the venue, you dance, you talk, you mingle, you grab a drink, you grab a cocktail, maybe grab a bite if it's available, you sit down, you dance, you go out for a smoke, you come back. And every time you do this, you see the art again. You feel it more. You're vibing with it, because also, obviously, as I said, we're connecting the elements together properly, so we know what kind of an artist presented, with what type of a lighting, with what type of a cocktail. We even name the cocktails after the art that is presented, right? With what vibe of the music and what kind of people are coming. You know, all of those matter. And what kind of a venue, right? The background, the venue is the most important part.
Is that the venue and the sound system is a big like major part. And I was going to quickly ask you as well, was when you, like, do you accept art from other people, or is it? Yeah, you do. Yeah. So what do you look for? So say when you do your display your art and stuff like that, you have to carefully curate a good DJ lineup. So how do people approach you, and then you go through the selection process of displaying that artist's art, and the DJs as well, how like their sound is going to match your brand or the party and the art as well? Explain that process. Like, of
course. That's really the, you know, down and dirty part of the creative process. That's how we dig in, right? It's always between Kiarash, myself, and Jean together. We sit down and talk from different elements. We put it together, right? Obviously, Kiarash art is always one of the presented artists there, right? With different, collections that he has, and of course the cocktails with the art are part of it, and we try to fine tune those based on the venue. Yeah. So we put the venue. We know where the event is going to be, right? Is it at the warehouse? Is it at a fine art gallery? Is it at a heritage building? Is it outside in summer, right? So depending on where that is, because that really plays a key. It's a very key element, the venue, and how it looks like.
For sure.
What is accessibility of it, right?
Yeah.
And then we start putting the art in it, right? And first we try to put our imaginations together, that in this venue, how would it look like, right? Just put it in your head, close your eyes, think about it. What is that perfect thing? Is it the ravey dance? Is it the mingling with a little bit of a dance? Is it more of a, let's walk through, see the art, have a cocktail with a glass in our hand even, rather than a can? It really depends, right? So we put that imagination together, we think about it, we see it, and then we start, the art and the artists that come through, right? Is it more, street art? Is it more fine art? We have a partner that graciously have been helping and partnering with us, Charlie Rosso Art Gallery. These are high-end art brokers, right? They're basically, the authorized dealers of original works of Salvador Dali, Picasso, Joan Miro, Andrew Warhol, Mr. Brainwash, all these like modern era and some of the contemporary artists. And, we have like thousands of dollars worth of art every time, sometimes tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, right? But they also get it that the art gallery owner, Susanna, is one of the most wonderful human I've ever met, that she totally gets it, and she sees the value to bring that fine art and make it in that environment presentable to younger audience, to people who have not had access to it, not by choice.
Yeah, and
right?
the good thing as well is about with the art thing, which I think I'm trying to highlight more of, is I had a guy on called Junior Tomlin, and he used to airbrush and paint every single flyer for certain events, for certain brands.
That's
so you got
cool.
Junior Tomlin Pez. They've actually got a book with all the Rave flyer art, and people collect Rave flyers. So we had one guy on a couple of years ago, and his name was Fat Media Dave, and he has the biggest online art database of all the Rave art galleries. So there was raves that were happening that were
cool.
designed by like Pezzi's flyers.
Yeah.
And they're worth like thousands. But they used to be put under people's car windshield wipers back then. But because now they're iconic, and they're bringing that back into the music scene now. So like flyers are a big thing. That is an art on itself.
Massive.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Massive. And you know, our flyers, Kirash is always designs the flyers, which does a great job. But actually our creative cycle starts with the flyer, as you said.
Yeah.
So the venue, imagining how it looks like, the vibe, the general vibe, then the artists that are present on the fine art side of things, and then the poster, because based on the art that is presented and the vibe and the venue, we do the poster, right?
Yes.
And then we put the lineup for the music, right? Again, we see, first of all, based on imagination, what does that experience look like? Is it more of a bougie gala for Christmas with a charity? Then you want to have some live performances in the middle, maybe an MC, and then have some electronic music in the middle, vibing, grooving people in, and then taking them back up to dance and leave them on a high, right? That's how you put it together. Or sometimes next event is that we have is November 17th at the Vancouver Aquarium. That one, you know, based on putting that imagination together, obviously it's not as much of a space for a live performance, because people are going to flow between the live wild fish aquarium tanks and go come back, and then there is the outside section, and then they want to dance and mingle. So it's more of a free flowing, let them figure it out and go whatever they want to do, and the music is guiding them, right? So then you want that connected electronic music experience. It starts with a more groovy, vibey background in the beginning and the inside, and takes them to a higher energy dance on the outside. So then now you know that. Now you think about what we have in our disposal as, you know, our DJs locally. And sometimes if we have budget, or if it makes sense from the marketing perspective, then we have a headliner coming from, you know, wherever, you know, could be a big airliner, medium level, whatever, right? And or sometimes you bring headliner because, you know, we're trying to develop a relationship for another business aspect with them, you know, somewhere else, right? Of course, like everybody. And obviously business is a big part of this whole thing. And then we, you know, based on our knowledge of being in the industry, all of us, and, you know, we've worked with a lot of producers and DJs in the city, so we know their style. And based on what we need, we start calling people up. We put it together. We know their style of music and their experience, of course, and, you know, their level and everything. And then we put that together from beginning to an end. So we literally design a full connected experience that makes sense. It's not just, I want to book that guy and I want to use this venue and I want to put that art piece there and it's going to work. Right.
Has to be carefully curated.
And that's why after art gallery cancellation, a lot of people were calling us, hey, you want to use this venue instead, you know, short term, just like flip the thing. And I said, we can't do that. That experience is made for that place. I'm not going to take that risk and offer something awkward just because we know there is damage. There is a, you know, legal path, and, you know, we take legal action based on our rightful contract, and, you know, we do that. There's no problem. We rather wait and do something high quality that makes sense, that reflects on our concept, our mission, and our brand. And
that's the thing, isn't it? Like, it, you know, some things fall through, some things do, some things don't, right? And that's just the way anything goes, with whether you want to buy a house or set up a business, whatever, right? It all happens, but it's coming back from that. And then, you know, like you did that with the drone guy. So that was absolutely amazing. I think that's the new way going forward, having fireworks, because there's a lot of fireworks here as well,
100%.
And things like that. So that's got to be a lot of planning. With the music.
And we did the whole thing in 4 weeks. 4 weeks from start to finish. 4 weeks, including all the city permits. And the, you know, police coordinations. Like, it's a lot of work.
So what was the planning phase in that, and how did it start?
So the planning started when the very first Vancouver Art Gallery event that we had this summer, I met this lovely group of people who were our guests, actually, the tickets, and they were there. And I was right beside one of the Salvador Dali sculptures, which was on display, and I met this young lady, and she was looking at it very deeply, and I started telling a story about that sculpture to her, and then we started saying hi and connected, and then a few minutes later she introduced me to somebody. Say, hey, you got to meet this guy, and we have this company that does drone shows, and we start talking, exchange contacts, and next time, the next event, they came again and they met John and Kirash, my partners, right? And they had a good chat as well. And when the rest of our art gallery events got canceled, very randomly, they were already talking to us that, hey, maybe we should do a collaboration together. So you designing this whole experience, and we have our drone show. It could be launched and it could be blended into it, and it's a great, concept to do. And absolutely, I mean, who wouldn't like that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
This is right down our alley of creative, technology fueled creative work.
Yeah.
And it was just a great time that, we were kind of done with the gallery because of the situation, and we were looking for something, a big comeback, to show that, hey, look, shit happens, right?
Yeah.
You got to move on.
Yeah.
You got to move on, and, keep your head up and chin up and move forward, and life goes on, right?
Yeah.
And that was great, and they were amazing. The best group of people I've ever worked with, like amazing people, and very creative as well, very energetic. Very go-getter, and they have a vision and a dream as well. And I'm really happy that our dreams and visions collided in the most perfect time.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
And it is. And the vision for that is obviously, as you said, drone shows are the best replacement of fireworks. Multiple reasons. First, sustainable, environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
And the most important part from the show perspective is that when you see a firework, the sound of boom, boom, right? The actual sound of explosion every time travels. I mean, sound travels at a different speed compared to light, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you see the show, and then the sound of boom for the firing of the whole thing comes a few seconds later, and it just ruins the whole experience. You're just seeing these things and a non-harmonized boom, 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 right?
Yeah.
It's just not very, the experience is not perfect. Let's put it that way, right?
Yeah.
And you're very limited by what you can show.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing. It goes up, boom, boom, boom. It's boring at some point, right? I mean, let's face it, right?
Yeah.
But with the drone show, you can do whatever. You can do visuals in the sky, right? That's what you can think about it. If your DJ is playing, you can the event we did, we had pre-mixed that part, of course, because it's growing, the technology is still evolving, this connection between the sound and travel. But basically, the next one, hopefully next summer, I mean, definitely not hopefully, it's already in the plans, spoiler alert, it would be a big public event at city property, and we're working on it. Again, I'm not going to put any details to it yet. But the idea is that the sound from CDJ, from the mixer, is going to go straight to the software that is controlling the whole show, and it's going to be a live sync. So you have visuals for the music in the sky.
So there's no lag. Yeah,
no,
it's perfect,
that's the extent of this, right? You do a music festival, you could do, and we're going to do it, and that one we're going to obviously bring a headliner as well, right? And you see that guy is playing, and in the sky, the visuals like is insane. It's just
that was insane,
mind blowing, right?
Even I was just like, what the hell is that? Like,
it's incredible. It's just how far we can go and be creative and do cool things that all result in goosebump feelings, trigger emotional experience, something that you feel good about, and it makes you think, makes you vibrate, right? That's a start of self-discovery. That's a start of going after your dreams. It always starts with a trigger, with a vibration, with a feeling.
Very true. Yeah.
And these type of things, these type of creative events and creative projects help, pushing
people.
that trigger, inspiring people.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a very valuable, life lesson for everybody to see that, I can get inspired and I can inspire. You can do both ways. It's never a one-way street, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to be inspired, you need to be triggered. You need to feel something, and you need to wake up.
Yeah.
And then you can also inspire other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a chain. That's a chain effect. And again, that's why we call electronic music higher vibration music. It makes you vibrate. It makes you wake up. It triggers you, right?
Yeah.
And there is something about electronic music that is deeper, that it hits differently because of that higher vibration. And it's really something that does have a spiritual, awakening in it. And that's what I like about it. That's what I want to share that with everyone. That's what I want to bring it up in all sorts of settings and experiment with it. In a gala, in a gallery, in a day party, in a night party, in a, middle of nature, right? As long as it's curated, and it's desirable to do all these different venues. That's another subject to talk about even, because it attracts different types of people every time.
Yeah.
And this audience who are now exposed and vibe with it is growing from all groups of society. It's just so beautiful.
I mean, I think like with RX and your brand, you collab with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And and vice versa. All these collaborations I think are so good.
Very, very good.
Like,
very important. Very important.
Yeah, to bring like just more to the scene, like in Vancouver and even just in Canada or even just around the world, right? Because again, we've talked about inspiring a drone show. I've never seen that anywhere else. Never. It's
very new. There was last year there were a few around the world in big cities like Shanghai. There was one, or Australia there was one, and in US a few cities had it for 4th of July. But still this was the first year people did it. Like in the last year, kind of leading to our event. That's basically the extent of drone shows happening in the world.
Yeah.
Right. So it's very new. And yes, there is no reason to live in a place that we always complain, we're behind and there's nothing happening. You know what? Let's make it happen. Right? Let's make it happen.
Exactly,
we can always travel and do bigger things as well, because of course overnight Vancouver doesn't become Mykonos or Los Angeles. It's not the same, but you can curate your own things here, right? You have nature, you have a different weather pattern, you have a different type of people, you have different type of vibe. Let's create something original. Let's not just copy other people. Like, let's get inspired. The blueprint is there. We don't reinvent the wheel, but we can change it and make it our own way. We can give it an identity. Building an identity in a place that doesn't have previously a big identity in these kind of things is the most important thing. Because if people just try to do these things and one here, one there, one, and then they die out slowly and then something else come, it never becomes a real movement. It never becomes a real cult. It never turns to anything long term, and then you didn't do anything then for the city because it didn't stick around, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing, like with everyone doing these parties and everything like that, and I think you're bringing, you and a couple of other brands are bringing a new dynamic to like the nightclub scene. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you know, like I'm from the UK. We do stuff with lots of art and stuff like that. But
lots.
But it's definitely more, to do with the genre of music and stuff. People might not agree with me on that, but you're bringing that to Vancouver now. Like you say, you're creating that, and I think Vancouver, one, needs that, but two, it's just like you said, it's inspiring people. So now you're not just looking for the DJs to come on, you're also looking for artists, you're also looking for the drone person, right?
Yeah.
So
all
these
sorts of creators. Yeah, exactly.
And that's like amazing, I think. And I'm not just saying it because you're sitting here, but you know what I mean? But it is like, it is good though. Like,
no, it is. It's definitely, but that's the whole mission. That's the whole purpose. That's the whole intention behind doing this, to expand, to share that with everybody. Look, it's at the end of the day, as selfish as we could be, as directional, intentional we could be in our own way, which is a good thing. Everybody has to pursue their own way of it. That's why you get diversity, right? Somebody does a warehouse style party, somebody does a club style party, somebody does an outdoor style party, somebody does an artistic style party, somebody does some of it all together or changes it, whatever that is, right? You gotta have these patterns, you got to have these parallel movements, which is great because not everybody likes the same thing, right? But also there should be efforts to have elements of this collectively, so then they can connect, and some here and there, right? You got to have that, a little bit of a soft glue, to capture these elements, to help bringing everybody up together, right? Whatever that is that they like, right? And like, I'm not a huge, individually, I don't go to a lot of super late night hard techno events, but sometimes I go, and sometimes I need it. I want to go and, just be at 4 a.m. and, just dance my brain out and go for it, right? But then a lot of times I like the more bright day things, right? But just that's because that's part of the mission I'm trying to build. Again. Because again, nightlife has always been there. After hours has always been there. Then that music with it has always been there. But to break that barrier, the wall, for other people to access it, to be attracted to it also, you need to really make some changes. You need to really go between the lines, right? And you need to allow that music to come out and be presented in a little bit of different way without changing and compromising the context. And now it's presentable to a whole wider range of audience, right? And why not? Right? You don't have to necessarily just go to Coachella and pay thousands of dollars. Maybe in your own city, every month you can have something cool that gives that, more general vibey feeling that brings all of those good underground previously music out as well. And those people come out too, right? There's nothing wrong with experiencing different things. You know, it's not like you're going to die if you one day from warehouse go to gala and from gala go to warehouse. Right?
Exactly.
You need everything in life. You need to be a multidimensional person. You get triggered in different ways. But again, the effort for us is now more focused on sharing it and making it accessible to people that don't have access to it naturally. And that's a value and mission that I really am focused on. And I think once it hits a certain point, then you see the influence in the society. Then that same person is going to spend money and go to the after hours. So then the after hours is going to thrive because of this. Because we brought the music out and gave it to everybody. They liked it. Now they're going to the main sources. So it's giving back to the community. It's not about, nobody's trying to fight anybody. I think I love everybody and everybody loves me as far as I know, hopefully. But, I love working with people. Of course, everybody's got their own way, but let's see the bigger picture. Let's always be positive about it, and let's be authentic to your own path and your own journey. And at the same time, be open to collaborate and get out of your comfort zone, because to grow as a person, as a brand, and as a scene collectively, we do need to flex, we do need to be open-minded, and we need to think out of the box. We are way behind in history in this city of this stuff. So we got to, make some accelerated decisions here, right? We got to act fast, and we are, and it's great. And soon you're going to see that effect, that all these people now that are exposed to this are going to come and support the scene, because that's their new thing. Right.
And with regards to the style of music that you see at your events, what kind of music will people see? Is there different genres of music? Is it specifically one genre, or is the music change with the different style of art? If it's that kind of setting, or if it is a party, what kind of things would people expect to see at a venue?
All sorts. And as you said, it depends on the style of the event, the art, the venue, so again, it goes back to that creative cycle. But we go from events that are more party oriented, right? That you go a lot more, higher beat, melodic techno, melodic house and techno, to even a little harder sometimes. But you got, on the opposite, you got live performances, sax performance, and singers even sometimes. And then you got a super day vibe, melodic house, remix style of classics going into a lot of deep house style. It slowly shifts to, some more groovy techno, right? So it really depends on the experience. But again, the key is we try to make this a collective experience. So there is no prejudice against the style of music, against the specific artist that, some people say, oh, why don't I get booked, blah, blah. Well, there's a certain amount of, options that we can have, 5-6 DJs per event. And that event has this style. So we need to put the experience first. Everybody's my friend. I love to have everybody playing all the events. I just don't have enough spots for everybody. Right? So it's a reality. We never choose based on, I know this, I like this guy better personally. It's never a personal preference of, I like this style of music better, so I put it this way. No, we are creators of the whole experience, and we do understand that the experience comes first, and whatever makes sense, we go that way. Right. And it's been working for the most part, right?
That's good.
So, for example, in Vancouver Art Gallery was interesting, right? The first 2 events that we did there, and then got canceled. We had 2 spots for live performance with saxophone. There was a stage inside and there was a stage outside. The outside stage would start earlier because, you know, people are out, it's summer, right? And it was very groovy, melodic, deep house to begin with, right? And slowly, when you go to the peak, you get to a pretty good, like, dancey house and techno, right? And there was like a kind of a saxophone switch between the genres, right? And then at that point, when the saxophone genre was happening, the inside would start with a little bit already higher beat because people are already like having a drink and it's getting darker, it's getting to the peak. And then there will be a sax break there that would change the genre. I would go to the closing. Outside would end at 10. The last 2 hours were inside and suddenly they would pick up to a more beaty techno, right? So that's how we set up the basically the artist for that one. Whereas we go to the gala at the Vancouver club that we had, you know, the audience is different. You get a lot of older people coming. You get a lot of people who have not been exposed to too much of a house and techno necessarily, but you want them to vibe. You want to you know, introduce them to the
nice
genre,
minimal kind
right?
of,
You got you know, we start with a nice, very cool melodic, lower BPM, deeper house type
chill
of thing,
kind of
chill, chill style. And then slowly you take it to a little bit dancey beats of house music, right? But minimal house, but with a lot of vocals that connects. And there was a, you know, singer section there that after the singer, the house with vocals started, right? So it follows each other in a way, right? And as this happening, the other room takes from a nice house and, you know, melodic house to melodic techno slowly. But again, within the context, and you see people are now getting a little bit more buzzed and more dancing and more louder, right? It makes sense. So again, you go along a whole bunch of genres, right? I don't think we probably won't have like acid house, acid tech, like super high, like, you know, like 5 a.m. Gorgomesh style, obviously, because it's like 10 p.m., right? I mean, But then also we're conditioning people to go to the after party, right? So again, we always try to collaborate with one of the events in the city for after party as well. And because our events now are mostly 6, 7 to midnight. And because we want to keep people guiding them to the next experience. Again, that's another way to give back. It's all about, as you said, at the end of the day, music is probably the biggest part of it. You know, it's not the biggest part of the experience, but it is the most important part of it.
It's a piece of the puzzle.
It's a piece of the puzzle that you can't take it out. Right? And it's, all of us love it. So we want to give back. We want to, you know, that's the whole part of this, right? If people get the music, they get the experience. So I do want everybody to go through this music awakening, right? So we want to push people to go that on purpose and by design.
How, when you like set up your party, is it literally like on the day, like when you've got the venue, or do you get access to that venue sooner? Because obviously a lot planned comes into this. So is it like a military operation on the day, or is it?
I wish we get 2 or 3 hours maximum access to the venue before the start.
Oh my god,
it's ridiculous how we pull this together, honestly, sometimes. And but now in the, again, kind of like after summer with the venues we're choosing and kind of the style, we're trying to be smart about it. Be smart, you know, work smart, not hard. And kind of do a lot of design and, you know, like floor plans and stuff ahead of time. And we have kind of like preferred vendors for our sound and DJ equipment and all that stuff. So they all know us. We all know this, the art part as well, the art gallery. And so we do that kind of the floor plan. The elements are decided. We have a little plan for the time. But again, we haven't been to that venue. And we never set up there sometimes. Like it's the first time, right? So you don't know what you're in for in practice, right? But we always make it happen. I think worst case, the latest we've been delayed for opening the door has been half an hour. We've never opened more than half an hour.
That's
like
not
late.
bad.
And that's when there's only like 20 people coming maximum in that half an hour anyways at best. So it's not a huge deal. But we obviously try to always be sharp on time. Because otherwise, why do we say that time, right? We got to be accountable to what we say, right?
For sure.
But yeah, it's tough. It's tough. A lot of these venues that we are trying to do events in are not a classic music venues or a party venue. They do maybe corporate events there or a wedding or something, which is a completely different ballgame, right? So they're not used to it. That's why they don't have that whole model of come access from day before and, you know, set up this and set up that. We have to put everything together in 2 hours, right?
Yeah, like prepare and get it in there. Yeah,
crazy. But you know, we've done it so many times now. We're good at it.
Clockwork,
right?
innit?
Yeah, it's working kind of automatically, and we all have our roles. And when we need help, we get other people to come help, experts in this and this, or just like, you know, extra pair of hands, right?
Yeah.
If you have to. Yeah, so that's been interesting, very fun. It's always challenging. I'm not gonna lie about it. Yeah. It's always challenging, but it's a good challenge, and we're up for it, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, now the bigger you go, and the more out of box venues and places you use to host the event in,
yeah,
this is gonna get a more complex subject, right? So you have to prepare yourself, you have to condition yourself. And I always say this is the mistake to jump from 0 to 100 overnight. You can't do that. No. Even if the opportunity is there, even if somebody gave you $500,000 to do a festival with 50,000 people when you've never done anything, you can't do it, right? No. Then you got to go hire somebody else who's done it to do it, and you pay them the whole money. So then why did you choose to do it, right?
Yes.
What was your influence in it, right?
Yep.
So we got to build it step by step. I told you, we started with that storefront pop-up. That, you know, we had maybe a couple of hundred people coming and going all day. But, you know, at any given time, maybe there was 30, 40, 50 people, right? Maximum inside.
I think that's fucking brilliant that you did a storefront party.
That's cool,
because that's such a big thing in the UK.
Right? I've seen it.
They had like a kebab shop or a fish and chip shop, and then they'll have like a rave in there, you know?
I've seen that.
It's good that no matter how big you'll get, you'll still do that, you know, because you could do that with like an independent clothing brand in Vancouver, right? Mm-hmm. You know, obviously the fact we mentioned the fashion's involved. You could say to, you know, a store that has only 2 stores in London.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
Would you like us to bring in some, you know, our brand and collab? And that's the beauty of it as well, isn't it? Like, if you really think about it. And
I think so. I think it would be nice to do that, and we're gonna definitely do a lot more. As we're growing and the events are getting bigger, they're gonna become less frequent, right? Obviously, because now for a 5,000 people event that is on a city property, I need 3 months at least to plan and execute, minimum, if not more, right? For a public accessible event in a city property or park with basically tens of thousands of people coming and drone show and all that, you need like 8 months of planning. Yes. Right. Yeah. And permits and all that. So then you can't just run events like back to back to back, because you have certain amount of time to spend, right? Mm-hmm. And of course you get more staff, you get coordinators, blah, blah. But then when you do less frequent big events, you have opportunity to do these like a small boutique things that you like, man, for fun and for marketing, right? Here and there, including such a concept that, hey, you know, we can always do a little party in a boutique shop, right? Have our cans and people come, have a drink, sell, buy. So it's, you know, it's benefit for all, and they sell their product in the store. Yeah. You know, and I love those stuff. I'm a big fan of intimate experiences than big experiences. Obviously, big experiences are glamour. It's, you know, different. It hits differently. Yeah. But from my personal vibe of life, I love the intimate, curated, you know, little thing, because the energy is much stronger. You feel it. Like, you know, it vibrates all around the room. Everybody who's there is feeling it, and everybody's vibing together. That's why Boiler Room works, right? That's the whole experience of it. Yeah, that's fun. But yeah, you know, it's the path is to really go towards that level. You know, things that people are doing in big cities for many years. You know, like why we have, you know, it's funny, right? Last night I went to Harbor for RG's event. You know,
how was that?
It was great. Yeah. Fantastic. You know, we have Harbor partner with Harbor. You know, our Bootleggers cans are always sold in the bars available, which is great. Finally, we have a good beverage in the biggest club in the city, which always was one of our missions, right? Yeah. But, you know, it's the extent of Afterlife we've ever got in the city, right? Yeah. Afterlife brand. Now, and the same day, last night, there is the actual first Afterlife live event in Los Angeles, which is also funny because Los Angeles is a big city. How come Afterlife's never gone that far, right? Yeah. And you see that there is no reason why we can't have a 5,000, 10,000 people with a digital screen that size and have Afterlife coming to the city, right? There is no reason why All Day I Dream Tour never comes to the city. You have summer, all the beautiful outdoor spaces. It's such a vibe, right? And that's my next goal, and we'll see how it goes. But that's the next phase of things that we want to do, to go to events that are not necessarily just booking somebody to come play in a big space, but curating an event that maybe brings a headliner or two or a brand from outside to be part of it as well, but has our elements of the city and experiences that we were building and cultivating. And naturally and organically, suddenly we have a 5,000 experience, and there is market for it, and people are able to pay for tickets and come, and it financially makes sense. And, you know, it fits within the difficult frameworks of the city of Vancouver and Vancouver Park Board and the VPD and all that as well, right?
Yeah.
Because then you're going to make it fully official and accessible, and you have to do it right?
For sure.
And it's not easy, right? Because again, the same thing, the Park Board and the city of Vancouver and VPD haven't hosted or been part of such a thing. So they're all scared. Naturally, they're going to be like, I don't want trouble.
Yeah.
Right? That's the
Yeah.
first answer, and
Yeah.
makes sense. You know, we're human. We don't want trouble, right?
Yeah.
But you got to show it that it's not trouble. It's no
Yeah.
trouble. In fact, it brings value to the city.
Yeah,
Right.
it does. Yeah.
And there is a way. There is a way to do it, and you got to build that relationship. The drone show allowed us to have an introductory relationship with the right people in the city and VPD and all that, and learn a little bit about logistics of doing such a
how
thing,
they work as
and
well.
how they work, and
Yeah,
how we
yeah.
can fit this into their model
Yeah.
and make it work.
Yeah.
And that was the most brilliant outcome for me out of the whole drone show
Yeah.
event, beside all the other good things that happened with it. But that's the more valuable thing for me. That's the path. We need to get it.
Yeah.
We need to get there, because that's always been the goal, to bring that life in a customized, authentic way to the city, and then let it run after that. Other
Yeah,
people
yeah.
can get in and manage it and do their own events, but you know, you got to get it out first, allow the logistics and all those, you know, tension points from the public sector perspective to be resolved and addressed, and then nobody's scared anymore.
Yeah.
They see that people are responsible. You know, I'm telling you, there's this bad stigma around electronic music, especially in Vancouver, right? Because Vancouver has been a drug pro city historically, right? But, you know, city of Vancouver, VPD, even talk to them, the first thing that comes, electronic music, oh, these are all like, you know, I got to be worried about overdose and drug abuse and this and this. Well, you don't have to. You go to, you know, man, Coachella, every single person, regardless of they don't even drink alcohol, they go to Coachella.
Yeah.
It's all about music and experience, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Why are we scared? Because they've done it. They know that everybody goes. Here, because nobody's done it, everybody's like, oh, normal people are not going to go. Like, what is normal people? Everybody's a normal people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody
and
will go.
all walks of life will go, won't they? You know, like
Right.
that's the thing.
You're
And
not going to go. Everybody walks in, kind of overdose on a truck. Like,
yeah.
so that's the challenge, and I'm trying to break that, and we all trying, like, you know, but I love to personally, that's one of the missions I have, to make it look good again, clean it up so nobody's scared anymore. So let people enjoy the music and the art and the experience and have fun and dance, you know.
Yeah.
Since when dancing is illegal?
Yeah, I mean, how this is what I how do you go about trying to find these venues as well?
Right.
Because as you get bigger, the venue's got to be compatible with the size that you're growing. I know we obviously like the boutique kind of stuff. It's cool, it's intimate, right? But like, how do you find these venues and think that'll work, or haven't found this yet, or there must be more, because we're limited in buildings anyway.
Yeah, very limited. We're limited in the
So-
space. We're limited in building.
Yeah. So how do you?
It's a very good question. It's been obviously one of the biggest creative challenges of the whole experience, right, for us. But so there are two things to finding venues, right? We obviously started from a lot of smaller spaces and warehouses and that kind of stuff too. But venues don't have to be a venue to
Yep.
be a venue. That's the thing, you know, if that
Yep.
makes any sense. It doesn't have to be a designated party dance type of a venue. And that's how it starts, that you think that, okay, where I can have enough space and redesign it or manipulate the logistics of it to allow that many people to be present, have certain things, certain amenities available to them, like bathroom, you know, drinking water, bar, even food possibly, and then the sound and the dance, right? All of that comes to place. And then that really starts with how many people you're having in mind, the financials behind it, right? Because again, the rent, if it's only 500 capacity, but it charges me $50,000, there's no way I'm going to make my money back. So it's not, that's possible, right? So that's all these, conditions. One thing that when we started this way back in time, the business that is behind Bootleggers is called the Volatile Project. That's the name of the entity, legal entity that owns it, that I started this 5 years ago when I started that whole, multi-room hospitality experience. Which by the way never happened, because when I designed that experience, before we signed the lease for the place, pandemic shutdowns happened. So 2 years, never happened. So that's how, this is just side story because I realized I never finished that. But anyways, it's Volatile Project is an interesting name because that means we look at everything as a project. And we look at volatility, which means change. It's always changing. It's never the same.
Yeah.
The concept of entertainment and being relevant in the art and entertainment world is about evolving and changing, creating a FOMO. Mm-hmm. FOMO comes from seeing that you don't have access to it anymore, right? It's a simple marketing trick, right? Yeah. That if you know you're going to miss out and that you don't have a choice to do it again, then you're going to, think twice about buying ticket or not.
Yeah,
right? Okay, maybe I should go, right? Yeah. Because it's once and I'm going to miss it, right? But in the beginning, your brand doesn't have any audience. It doesn't have any experience. So it's hard to, doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
But once you build it and you take all the hits and, challenges and find it that where we are right now, people know that every time they come to a Bootleggers event is completely different. It's a different place, it's a different experience. Sometimes it's the same venue, but differently designed, right?
Yes.
And that's it, once or twice, and that's it. We never repeat because that's the whole concept of the business. Mm-hmm. That's literally why the business exists. But that allows us at this point to always have these recurring people coming and the new people.
Yep.
Now, have that in mind. So our mind has been for 5 years always thinking about new venue, because we know we got to keep growing by size and by the experience itself. And we need a new space, whatever that is, right? So that's been always, so we're always on the hunt. I'm driving or walking down the street, naturally, my ears are open, right? Sometimes you've been somewhere for many times, right? Even a restaurant, let's say a restaurant that has the potential to turn into this something, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly you're walking by and suddenly like, damn, I think this could work, right? You might need to do this and that, but I think this might work. And that's really how we choose, right? We just keep thinking, keep pushing, keep going around and seeing. Yeah. And when you are actively thinking about the next ones and you have already the kind of numbers and concept in your head, it's already there. So everything you see is going to become a candidate, right? And then that's how you see it. We've been maybe sometimes lucky and sometimes unlucky, of course, right? Yep. But that's how it is. There's no magic about it. It's really just being aware and really always on the ball and sharp about this, because you know what you're doing. So you got to have some plan for the next 6 months or a year. You know what kind of venues you're working on, and always be on the search and on the hunt, right? And when you don't have to rely on only, again, being the classic venue, sky's the limit. You just got to find the right person who runs it, because a lot of people who are in managers or owners of certain types of hospitality or entertainment or arts establishments, they don't like parties in it per se. But I think at this point we've built the brand around the fact that it's not just a party. So people are trusting it, right? And they're open up. Like Vancouver Club was a great example. It was obviously for them a little nerve-wracking, and I know that, right? Because what's it gonna be? It's gonna be party, so much dancing, it's gonna damage the building, and I'm like, But then the trust is there. We've done the drone show at Science World, right? We've done art gallery, so they know, they've seen the brand, right?
Yeah.
So then next time, and then it was successful. Yep. No issues, right? So then we have a second chance.
Just building your resume, innit?
Yeah.
And how do you approach if you see something, you're driving around, you see something you want to do, how do you approach them people?
So if I have a contact point, email. If I somewhere I go ask if there's a reception or somebody there. If not, there is maybe a property management sign or something. I call or email somebody, first find the right person. Once I find the right person, obviously I send them an introductory email explaining about who we are, some links about our Instagram, our website, our business, recap of some of the events we've done, and ask for and tell them kind of what we have in mind, and ask them, can we, connect and have a call or come for a visit and see it in person? And, you guys, it's selling, right? If I'm selling you something, it's got to have a value for you.
For sure,
right?
yeah.
If I make that value for you, if you make it valuable, if you see the value, then it's done, right?
Yeah.
The always challenge is to make people believe in that value that you offer them, right?
Yeah.
And I think because we are getting bigger in a not just one community, throughout so many different people every time new people are coming to the event, right? And we have a lot of relationships from hospitality sector to art sector to entertainment sector to a lot of entrepreneurial sectors and events, right? A lot of people now know us and know our brand. So the people who work in a certain venue or manage it, the chances are they've heard about us.
For sure,
at this point. So that makes it a lot easier, but it wasn't always as easy.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of no's. And I've tried to turn a lot of no's to yeses. And, sometimes it doesn't work, and you got to be patient and put the good work, and eventually it becomes a yes.
It becomes a yes.
Right.
So
consistency.
Exactly. And consistency is absolute key with a lot of stuff. And like, obviously your experience might help someone else anywhere around the world, like, want to do similar to what you did. So what would your advice be to someone who wants to kind of start off with something like starting an event, a brand, like doing art, music, combining it, or just one or the other? Like, what would your advice be for that person?
Of course. I think the first thing, the most important thing is to have intention, to have a dream. It's got to come from you. It's not something like, oh, let me see what can I do to live or make money or become famous. Okay, maybe hosting parties is a good thing. It can't start like that. It doesn't work that way. It has to be your passion, your dream, so a part of it. Like, at least there should be that trigger, that natural trigger. The challenge is how to guide that natural trigger to become a successful entity, right?
Yeah.
And if you have that trigger, I think you gotta first focus on making sure it's real, what it is. And once you go through a little bit more of self-discovery on that end, I think the next steps naturally come out, right? And then after that, there are many ways to do it. You can find the right people in the community, get help, get partners, get guidance, at least to start, get information, receive information, and then plan and strategize. You need a strategy, you need a plan. Obviously, it's not going to go by the plan. It's not going to go exactly per your strategy. And because of that, the third thing is you got to be flexible, open to change, open to being, pressed against the wall to make last minute decisions. Disappointments are going to happen, but, as many disappointments that there's going to be even more successful points and successes and celebrations and happinesses. So don't get disappointed. Don't get disheartened by failures or, no's. Be consistent, be open, and do it right. Do your homework. Do your homework. But again, most important thing, passion. Without passion or intention or passion or a combination, whichever that is, it's not possible, right? You don't have to be a musician to start creating a musical experience. If you are, great, much better. But you need to be an enthusiast of it, at least. If you're not an enthusiast, that means then why are you doing it? Right? It's got to be part of you somehow, right? And the same thing, cocktails are part of me. Like, it's my passion of life. It's been forever. Arts, visual arts, and fine arts have always been part of my life and passion, right? And same thing, social gatherings, the art of people, the art of experience through people has been always my passion, my natural personality point and passion of life. And music has been a complete inseparable part of my life. But I wasn't a musician. Yes, you know what? When I was young, I played classical guitar actually out of all the instruments, which is very interesting and fun and musically evolved, right? I understand the beat and cycle, right? And I haven't played for 15 years, right? But it doesn't mean I can't start music. I listen to music every single day for the last 30 years of my life, right?
Yeah.
Then you live through music. I vibrate with music.
Yeah.
That's what you need. You don't need to play it necessarily. But again, I mean, now it's been my passion, so
You
I started
DJ
playing as well a little bit.
Yeah.
It's great. You know, I'm not necessarily trying to become the biggest, but you never know. I mean, I'd love to, obviously, if the opportunity comes around. But given my time and priorities, obviously, it's not the main thing, but it's my passion. I love it. It does, you know, when things are getting now a lot more intense these days, right? There's more pressure, you know, we do event in 4 weeks, the event of that size.
Yeah.
So you don't have time, but it's a little escape from me.
Yeah.
Which is also relevant to the whole thing that I'm doing at the same time. But it's like a escape within the whole experience for me, so I can have a little breathing room and, you know, recalibrate myself, right?
Yeah.
Which is amazing, as music is for most people, you know,
exactly.
in one way or another.
And there's another. You heard of Bass Coast Festival?
Yeah, of course. I haven't been yet, unfortunately.
But they do the art as well.
Yeah, I know exactly.
It's really good. People actually put up like displays, like art displays and things like that. Just
yes, absolutely. Vendors, even fashion brands, everything. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it's great.
And I think what you're doing with it in the city, because obviously it's a bit out of the city, but I think that's really good. And just a quick brush up on these drinks then. So, how do you I've never started drinking brands, so I'm just a bit curious.
How do we do
but
that?
How do you get the start of it, and then get all the things approved to do it, and then how do you approach venues to like give it?
Yeah, of course. So the can cocktail started for us with I can touch base a little bit before that. We had a cocktail brand to begin with because I wanted to do that physical experience that cocktails were a part of, but that didn't work. So the next step through pandemic was that we wanted to do a cocktail delivery experience without making the delivery platform. Delivery platform is already there, right?
Yeah.
We just wanted to allow having craft cocktails available for ordering outside of the bar, so you can ready to go, take it, right? So we started working on, the first challenge you have, of course, is that, well, you got perishables, right? You got juice and syrups and, stuff, fruits, herbs, right? How do you maintain that, right? And that's why you see most of the canned beverages like seltzers, vodka soda, tequila soda, all of that, they either have no flavor or they just have added flavor, which is kind of like a powder, basically, right? It tastes like mango and, kiwi, right? It's basically you buy the powder in a laboratory, they make it, sometimes artificial, sometimes natural. Natural means it comes somehow from the real fruit, but it's still a powder. It's, synthetic flavoring, right? And I don't like that. I come from the craft cocktail world. I want the real deal, right?
Yeah.
So I met a food scientist through my challenge of trying to find a shelf-stable solution for fresh produce, that he helped us together building this trade secret that is the base of these cocktails, that we make a real drink with any recipe we want. We design the recipe exactly as a craft cocktail in a cocktail bar. And we put it through that process, which is exactly getting the real ingredients, juicy mixed syrups, exactly like a real cocktail. But then in the placement of them together in the laboratory, in the facility, there is a little change in the chemical composition that they kind of get glued together under certain conditions. And they stick together for a year with no issue.
Okay.
So the fresh ingredients come and become one. And they're good for 1 year without the need to refrigerate. They can be exposed to air, no problem. Right, so it's shelf stable for 1 year. And it's magic. We tried it over 2 years very meticulously. Started launching some of that delivery thing and tested so many recipes, and it was a blast. It was successful. I'm happy with it. As a person who likes fresh craft cocktail, this is as fresh as it gets, 100%. And it's the only in the market. Everything else is, again, seltzer with flavor.
Synthetic, fake ingredients.
Synthetic flavor, right?
Yeah.
It is not a synthetic flavor, and you can pour it. It's non-carbonated. You don't have to carbonate it because... have you seen a cocktail except French 75? There's no other cocktail that is an Aperol Spritz, of course. There's not that many cocktails that are carbonated,
No.
right? So every can is carbonated because they need to maintain. That helps with maintenance in the long run, and also it makes it more fun because flavor is not very strong, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
adds to the experience of
Yeah,
drinking.
yeah, yeah.
We don't need to. It's a real drink, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, anyways, we make the mix. It's non-alcoholic, right? So now that we had the mix, we're like, okay, we should go retail because that's the bigger market. We want to share the good stuff with everyone, and from the business perspective, and from the passion perspective and mission perspective. So we designed the whole labels with Kiarash around the art and paired the flavors with Jean is always the master of flavor, right? So we put the design, the flavors, new recipes that pair with the art. And then we started learning about the long process of producing and selling alcohol, right? Because alcohol is regulated. It's the forbidden fruit, right? It's funny how I have these comments always in my videos that I say, you know, I'm a very recreational drug pro person, 100%, right? Because it's an enhancement of life and trigger, totally do it within reason and, you know, caution.
Safely,
but But all the drugs are getting decriminalized and legal. Alcohol is still the forbidden fruit and gets more regulated every day.
Yeah.
And gets more taxed and more regulated, right? So it makes it in a way more desirable because if you can't get it, the demand gets high, you know. But then the barrier to break it into the market is high, right? And I tell you how. We make the mix. Mix is certified. Our food scientist facility, everything is certified, FDA approved, both for US and Canada, health approved. Then we know based on our recipe how much water for dilution needs to be added to it because we don't shake this with ice anymore. So the dilution is already in it, right? And how much spirit we need. Sometimes these are with vodka.
Yep.
We have the other two with tequila, and the new cans that are coming are going to be tequila, mezcal, and vodka. Then we have to find a supplier for alcohol. Then we have to find a facility that has the license to package alcohol and manufacture technically alcohol.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes it could be a distillery that they make alcohol as well. Sometimes it could be a commercial licensee for alcohol that they just do co-packing, they call it, right? So they have a license for packaging alcohol into a can or a bottle with ingredients that you provide, right?
Yeah.
So we found the distillery in Kelowna actually for these ones. And then for our California production, we have a distillery in Los Angeles. And we ship the mix from our facility here to those distilleries. We give them the recipe. They have distilled water available in those places. And then the alcohol will be supplied either through the distillery or we find the suppliers on the outside, third parties, because we're very picky, obviously, about quality. So we literally import tequila and mezcal from Mexico, real thing. And this is real vodka. It's not a, you know, like a industrial produced synthetic grain spirit, whatever, right? This is a real craft vodka in this, right? And then then there is a production day, right? Some facilities have canning line or bottling line, some don't. If you don't, you bring a portable canning model into the thing. So they literally lay down a production line for a day and they pack it up and go, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it goes through the production. Then they mix every recipe based on a recipe. They mix the alcohol, the water, blend it, and it pumps out of the tote into the line. And the cans are already labeled and ready to go. And they go in an automated line. It takes them to the line. They go, normally most of the lines have either 4 nozzles or 8 nozzles, or it depends. And 4 go, the nozzles go in, fill them up, go out. They put the lid. Before putting the lid, there is a thing called nitrogen dosing. Nitrogen helps pressurizing the can. That's why can is hard, because otherwise can would be soft. But it's not adding carbonation, right? And then they put the label. Then we get to the legal part of it on the distribution and sales. That was the legal side for production. Before that, you need to approve your recipes, approve your labels through liquor distribution in BC or the TTB in United States, all sorts of things. Those are done. Then you produce. Then you need to sell it. You need a distributor to sell alcohol. A licensed distributor. In United States, they're private. In Canada, most of them are government. In BC is government of BC, BC LDB, right? And then you need a warehouse. Sometimes the distributor has warehouse. Sometimes they recommend the warehouse. It goes through warehouse. They accept it, paperwork, blah, blah, blah. Distributor starts selling it, but you need to market to sell because nobody's going to pick up your product until they know it exists and they want it. So the sales cycle starts, right? And it's funny because investment in alcohol business is tricky. You put the money, you make an inventory, but when you sell it and by the time the money comes back is a 60-day cycle through the distributor and the retailer, right? And it comes back to you. And then you're not selling it all at the same time. So it's a tricky business, but if you do it right, it's a forbidden fruit. So we have finally mastered this whole process, and the reason our new cans are produced in California and they're going to be sold, the same cans are going to be shipped, imported back to Canada, and then going to be sold in California, and then they expand in the United States and Canada, is because we got the real data after a little trial and error and learning and, understanding what's happening. And we put the numbers together. We did a strategy and we found out what's the way to optimize this process to make money. And finally, I think we're there, and this is great. It's great, exciting times actually, right?
Yeah.
We build the brand, we establish the market share a little bit, and is really the next cans that are coming are the ones that are gonna be blowing up because they're not gonna change anymore, right?
Yeah.
And that's the one.
Yeah, it's mad. I've never looked at it from that perspective.
There we go. This could be a full-on educational, piece for
especially with
people who want to get to alcohol industry.
Especially like with the hospitality and the music industry and everything. All is a thing to make an event. Normally you have a team doing each one of different companies. You're doing the whole thing.
And you have a team doing this. Between myself, Kiarash and John, we do like almost 95% of everything.
Wow.
But, now it's time for grow. So obviously for next year, we have a lot of plans. We had a crowdfunding campaign. We absorbed in bigger capitals because we're growing. And with that now, we have a 4-year plan that we're hiring the right people slowly, and making some changes to... we can't obviously work like this, function like this forever with that high intensity, right? We need to slowly phase ourselves out of the front-end operations and hand it over to people who can do it. But we need a system in place, and this is all typical growing your business, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And but that's no part of the plan. It was a necessity to this point in a way, because brand is really coming from us and is very niche and is very targeted. So to be able to get people to open up to it and understand it and appreciate it was necessary. That it is us. You need to know us. You need to be with us and grow with us to get it. Now I think we're slowly getting to that point. Yeah, that is going beyond that, and most people know about it. And somebody goes to a liquor store, sees this, oh, cool. Or cool, so, I've heard that name before. Let me see. Oh, cool, different. Let me try it. 9.6% is a real cocktail. 9.6%. Where you have ever seen a 9.6% can in a liquor store that is actually tastes good? Right?
Yeah,
That's the thing, right? So, and it's getting there. It's getting exciting times, but it's been a lot of work. Yes, it's been a lot of work. I'm not gonna hide it. I'm not gonna say, oh, we've been living the dream like we're not on vacation. We don't have a day off, right? Yeah. Our event is Friday. Friday is a full day. Saturday I have meetings and this and wake up and go clean up and that, and accounting on Saturday, Sunday, come here for a call. I have another call later today. I have another meeting at night. There is no weekend, right? Yeah. But that's why I said if there is no intention, if there is no passion, it's not going to work. Yeah. The only way you manage to go through this is by passion and intention, because otherwise there is no way you can sustain yourself for that long. Yeah. And it's good though, because you hear of record labels, they're a record label, and then they will throw festivals. Yeah, exactly. Same thing, right? Yeah. You do the alcohol, but you also throw festivals and music experiences, and get and we love to do that. We want to be part of it. We want to when we get to the bigger markets, we want to start as kind of collaborating, sponsoring, and then once we get a little bit more, of the footprint and the audience, we want to definitely, like Red Bull. I mean, Red Bull did exactly the same things in their own world, right? They were an energy drink. They started using sports and high adrenaline activities as a brand, as an engagement, right? Then now they own soccer teams. They own, festivals. They own everything. They own the Formula One team, right? it's the sky's the limit, right?
Yeah.
And our brand is around lifestyle, which is tied into music and art for the most part,
Yeah.
right? So we want to grow those.
Yeah.
Like definitely. So definitely a Bootleggers festival is not very out of reach in the next few years. So.
That's good, yeah. Because again, like the more like you get these headliners in, the more people and show that experience online as well. That's gonna bring more big artists to look around and be like, well, Vancouver's got some big artists with some cool stuff going on, like a drone show. Like,
and I've never been, and I want to go. Right?
And then that's gonna bring more to the city as well, which I thought we've lacked for a while. And a lot of people are starting to bring in some big DJs. Like RG was here last night.
Yeah. And there was another guy at Vaulted. Like people it's growing. The scene is growing. There is more good things happening, and it's great. Now that's what I'm saying. It's time to slowly. And it was, again, winter hits Vancouver and October comes normally, city dies, right? This year, I've noticed finally these efforts that everybody's been putting together for the last few years slowly is flourishing, right?
Yeah.
It's not there yet.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think we're a few years away to have a solid, sustainable way from day party to late night with brands that are established and working together as well. And all that completely polished out, something that like, LA and New York have, right?
Yep.
But then, we're making a lot of good creative projects along the way, which is cool. And the fact that we started hitting US with our brand and trying to, it's bringing attention, right? We had Ray Cash, my good friend who plays in LA a lot of times, he's an LA-based DJ and producer. He was here for our drone show and headlining it. And we had another guy, Deza, coming from East Coast of Canada. And, he comes and he sees and, he's got a good experience of Vancouver. And next time he'd be open and happy to come back, right? And I got him to go to Northern House Studios, play a little, stream as well, meet as many DJs. You got to build that relationship beyond the city. I always say that to our friends, the local DJs, that look, if you want your rate to go from $100 to $1,000 by playing more in the same place in the city, it's not going to happen, right? You got to get booked beyond that same place in the same city, right? Just by repetition doesn't increase your value because you don't have extra audience. It's the same audience, right? Like the reason that guy is getting paid $5,000 because he sells tickets. Is business, right? At the end of the day, right?
It is, yeah.
How do you get there? That's another things that we've been, talking in the city because a new scene, right? New scene, new people, and we're always like evolving together. And these stuff are some of the human challenging sides of the industry on the music side, definitely, right? That we all know egos and, expectations and too much in your head and all that stuff. Let's be down to earth. Let's have a strategy. Let's have a plan. I see a lot of new marketing advertisements now for music industry. And I say, hey, now if you're a DJ, you want to break through, you need a strategy, you need brand. It's an ad. I don't know if the marketers are good or not, but it's good to see that's happening. At least that shows that people are thinking about this, that, hey, look, I need a plan to grow. It just doesn't become, I don't become, suddenly that guy, I don't become Tale of Us tomorrow just by playing in Vancouver every weekend. It doesn't happen, right? As good as you are, it doesn't happen that way. You need to put the effort, you need to connect. And of course, the organizations, people who are also designing and putting events, they need to try as well, because opportunity doesn't come from the sky, right? We all need to put the effort and connect and bring opportunities and share if we want to grow, right? If my friends who we started this in the scene together that are DJing could get booked to Coachella one day, that makes me happy. Because I was with you when you were playing together in our events, small events, and we grow together. That makes me happy. That's success of my friend. That's saying that I maybe had something to do with it too, which makes me even happier, right? And I'm actively thinking about this. We actually actively try to do that. And that's why we want to connect with the music scene in LA. We're growing the brand very soon in 2024 to Miami, to Nevada, to Vegas, to New York. And we want to connect with those people. We want to slowly, through these Bootleggers and a canned cocktail, becomes a symbol of connecting to the music scene, bringing DJs, showing them the city and experiences that are unique that we built in the city that you can't have in New York City, as big as it is, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't have mountain and ocean and a small boutique city at the same time with these different category of people that come and take part in it, right? It's exciting for them, something different. And then, you know, you come show yourself to them, and then you try to go to those events, connect with the organizer, get their contact, send an email, send the sample, get them to book you for an opening act. It's not that difficult. You got to go and explore to make it. You don't, you know, nobody knows you in Los Angeles and you're sitting here. How do you want to be booked? Like you tell me, how would you get booked, right? Somebody needs to know you exist and knows your work before they book you.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's push that. I'm helping on my end of the story, and that's been, again, part of my mission. And very openly, I want to help everybody and bring that as much as I can with my platform and opportunities and resources. But I think everybody else needs to also, the DJs themselves, the organizers, they need to push. They need to also get out of their comfort zone, go to the cities around, go to other parts of Canada, go to US. I mean, Seattle is got a very fresh scene, so easy to work. San Diego's got a fresh scene, very easy to work. LA's got a established scene, but it's very close. They know some of people in LA are connected with us very deeply, and I've been sharing, and some other you know, Atlas friends or have a lot of friends in LA as well. You know, let's make it work.
Yeah, it's the same with London, right? I mean, you can fly to London and the scene, you know, you can go there. There's always in the party going on. There's different cities within London. Yeah, I know London's a city with different areas.
Different areas.
And you can do that, and
just exchange contact. Ask who's organizing the DJ that was local. Who are you? I'm a DJ too. This is how do I want to connect. I want to see if I can, you know, build also some relationships here. At some point, finally, you keep in touch. Maybe you invite them here, and then, you know, that's how it works. It's relationships,
and that's what I do with this podcast. So, you know, I like to meet. I'm a music geek anyway, right? And, you know, I've been in the scene industry for a long time, but I also like to get to meet new people with all different walks of life of what they do in different avenues within that electronic music scene.
That's right. That's
you
right.
know, and again, like, you know, having you on, or I had a guy on earlier called Joey Tempo. He runs a show on a good radio station in the UK, Select Radio.
Nice. Yeah.
And again, he's meet him, and it's all about that kind of exposure of, you know, okay, this is what, you know, Cam does this. He has this brand, this, that, and the other, and I'll try and do that with this platform,
which is great.
Too.
I love it. I love it. The fact that, you know, you look at it from all angles, right? Because that's how opportunity comes along. Like extending ourselves, going beyond, again, out of the comfort zone. You know, looking beyond our limited, you know, visual reach. Right.
Yeah, not tunnel vision. Look around. Yeah.
Right. Look around. Turn around and see what's behind you, what's on the other side. Right. Yeah. How I've done, like, the reason I'm creating this stuff is because I've experienced all of this stuff. I've been all around Europe. I've been all around Asia, South America. I've done so much shit in life, right? Yeah. Which is great. It's costly as well, right?
It costs a lot, yeah.
And not everybody has the opportunity or the intention to do it, blah, blah. That's fine. But, man, you got to experience. It doesn't, like, inspiration, creativity, you know, ideas don't naturally just come to you if you're dreaming in bed, right? I mean, sometimes do, I guess.
Sometimes you might be lucky enough. Yeah.
But it's all about your experiences of life.
Yeah.
And that those give you, and again, experiences give you relationships, give you contacts, give you vision and inspiration. And that's all you need, right?
Yep.
Regardless of whatever you do. Right.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
today,
that's, you know, them experiences, like you said, you know, going to art, going to music, going to parties, going to anything within that sort of stuff. Right?
Yeah, it's all digital marketing and relationships, and there's so many, you know, the blueprint is there. Yeah. Everybody's doing it, learn it, do it, and and you know, support. You know, it's funny thing about support. I gotta say this, right? And I think all the organizers in the city totally connect with this when people message you, it's like, hey, you know, I want to come to the event and support you, right? And you send them a ticket link, right? Or maybe a discounted ticket link, you know, as a friend. And say, oh, no, but, you know, guest list. I mean, how are you coming to support me if you're coming for free to my event, taking a space of somebody who could have paid to be there? That's not support. Stop abusing the word support if you're not paying to be there.
Yeah.
Of course, we have VIPs and friends and family and business relationships, so there's always a guest list.
Whatever,
absolutely. It's my righteous right as an organizer to have a guest list.
Yeah.
Because I have business and friends and family and so on, so right.
Yeah.
But those guys never, when you tell me, hey, come to my event, this and this, they never say, oh, I'm coming to support you. Oh, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But somebody that contacts you, oh, I'm coming to support you. Dude, what kind of a support is that? Like, go to the dictionary, Google support, and see what support means. That's not. There's no support in going to my event for free. I do not need your support. If you're coming and telling me I'm supporting you, I'm coming to your event for free, no organizer needs your support. Please stop that support. Let's not support each other.
Like they're happy to pay the money to go to a movie theater,
right? Yeah,
same money it would be for a ticket. Yeah,
exactly. It's so let's just really support each other, right? If you can, and if not, that's okay. At least appreciate it. At least if you're asking for a guest list because you can't afford it. You want to go to all parties, you can't pay all the time, or you're getting closer. Then just say thank you, appreciate it, and maybe promote it. Maybe put the the poster on your Instagram.
Yeah,
and promote it naturally.
Maybe
and get this and ask your friends to buy ticket. It's good. It's if we don't get people to come buy tickets, we're not going to be able to continue. And same like everybody else. That's how you run is a business. At the end of the day, it's not free. Nobody's doing anything for free for anyone.
No,
it's you live on earth, right?
That's it. We've all got bills to pay. Yeah,
right. So, but truly, I think we need to support each other from audience to influencer to producer to podcast to organizer to creator to brands that are involved heavily in the nightlife scene and music scene and art scene. And support means not to necessarily ask always for free stuff from each other. Absolutely not. But be reasonable with expectations and collaboration, compromises and all that stuff. And, we don't have unlimited budget for booking DJs, right?
Yeah.
And, if especially sometimes that we bring headliners, and again, everybody connects with it. Every single organizer can tell you if they're upfront and they want to really say it, they will say the same thing. If you're a local artist and trying to grow and be part of the scene, your support would be not rejecting the offer because of $100 lower or higher. Right? Yeah. That's not the way it goes. Again, what have you done outside of your comfort zone to grow your brand, right?
Yeah.
Work on that as well, and we support you. We are here to support you. But by paying you extra 100, extra 200 for another year, that's not even that much money. It's not going to change your life. It's not going to change my life, but it's going to tighten up my operations budget for the event more.
Yeah.
Because now there are 10 of you, right? So that's $2,000 budget that I could go to production so I can get better sound system. Right? Would you rather to play on a shitty sound system and get an extra $100 or play on a much more sophisticated sound system and get less than that, right?
Yeah.
And that's key. And another thing that I'm absolutely publicly announcing it, right? We started doing this and there's nothing to hide. To local DJs, when we do events, local performers and DJs, we're asking them to be part of the promotion and sell their own tickets and take the money, unlimited. Build your own audience. The first time you might sell none. We give a little minimum thing at least to compensate you for your efforts and time, of course. But that basically we're trying to help you build your audience through us. Right?
I'll say this to people as well about the warm-up sets for DJ sets.
Yeah.
Just even I when I did them I never got paid, but it was more of the back when I was younger, can you put a bunch of posters up? I can. If you put a bunch of posters up, I can give you the warm-up set. And not a lot of people wanted the warm-up set. They wanted the 12 o'clock or the 11 o'clock prime time.
Yeah, that's right.
But then that's when you can start playing with your music and start.
And it's tough, actually. Opening sets are tough because you don't have that many people. So sound is more clear. So if you make a mistake, everybody, you hear it yourself. When it's noisy, a little off, it's okay, right? People are already in the zone, right? and there's no audience, so your motivation, you got to be self-motivated, but everybody has to go through it. It's part of building. I'm, as a DJ that is growing, I'm doing only opening sets. November in Aquarium, that's the first time I'm not going to do an opening set, right?
Oh, nice.
And I've been playing now for 6, 7, 8 months at least, and in every event we had and some other events and private events too. It's got to be, don't matter who you are, be humble. And again, you're playing every night, every week somewhere again. Then you have an audience. Then let's diversify your audience and make money, because I'm not going to be able to pay you, for example, more than $200-$300 for 1 hour set, right? Regardless of who you are locally, right? But that's when we sell a $50 ticket to a fancier environment, right? You sell 10 tickets, that's already $500. Like, go after that. That's an opportunity to build an audience and make money. I'm never gonna be afford to pay you that much, to $1,000. Right? We had somebody actually like sold 30 tickets once. Right? That's great. That means you're building your own audience, and I'm giving you advertising opportunity. I'm giving you all of the reels and ads and name and post and stuff that we have a big audience, right? And email blast and all that. It's free. I'm giving that to you for free to build an audience and make money. And if you don't want it, I don't know what to tell you. Right? That means you got to think a little differently. If you really in this for a long term to be a professional musician and a DJ and producer, you got to make money. How to make money is not just by playing in the same place every week. That's not how you make money. Because they're going to give you the same money and you can do it for 200 years. Nothing changes. You got to market yourself. You got to build audience. You got to build a brand. We are helping you. I'm here to help. And you do that, you do good, come and build that audience. We're going to have collaborative projects in LA and Miami and stuff. We'll help you. Right? I'm telling you, you take a step forward, I take 2 steps forward. I promise you.
That's good, mate. That's good. Because there's a couple of brands in the UK have done a similar thing. They do festivals around the world and parties and stuff like that. And again, you know, they've had the same DJs with them for a very long time, but they've also get new ones in, and they get the opportunity to play from there to there. So that's good that you're providing that for the city as well.
100%. It's all about, again, community, right? I'm not, I can't play all the sets. Like, you know, like you curate music. You need diversified music and genres and DJs and producers, and it's all intertied like a spider web, right? But again, we all need to play our roles. And, you know, it just happens that I'm in a position that has the platform now. But I'm like, this is for everybody. I'm sharing it with you. I'm actually supporting everybody. But you got to also push yourself, right? It's attitude and ego has no room in growth. I have no ego. I never, like, you know, I started, nobody even knew me. You know, I never even tried to come out and say, oh, I'm who I know. I never say anything that I do something. I don't think I've done anything personally. I think this is the tip of the iceberg. My passion and my ambitions are way bigger than this, right? But you can't just tap out so fast and become egotistic and say, oh, you know, I'll be selective and I'm not doing. No, you're going to do an opening set. You're going to do a closing set. You got to do a couple of sets for free here and there. You got to build relationships. That's how you grow, right? Very obvious. And
I love an opening set,
right?
Yeah, I think they're great. I think it's really a good way to learn how to keep a crowd in there with the minuscule amount of people that you say, but just to create that atmosphere ready for the night to begin. Like you're creating the foundation for the rest of the one. You know, you got to learn who's playing along after you. You've got to learn what style of music they play. Are you going to lay up the next person that's playing after you the right way? Are you leaving them with a room full of people?
100%.
I think
and you know, even I think if I'm a person who is really trying and wants to grow and engage, if you get the second spot of the night from the beginning and you know exactly the lineup, we always say the lineup with the times in the event page, even you can go see it, right? Go reach out to the DJ before and after and talk to them.
Yeah, man, that's good advice.
We're trying to create a collective experience. Always communicate. If QRH is booking and managing, he's doing it a lot of times more than me now, right? But we always have this, that we communicate with everybody. We want to make sure everybody's on the same page. What is style of music? What's the vibe? What kind of people are coming, right? So we can create something neat, right? So you can help that as well by doing that. And it shows in your performance. And you see, those things make it distinguishes you from other people.
Yeah.
That's how you grow. That shows that you have real passion and you really go get it, right? And again, I don't think attitude has any place in building a community of creative spaces.
Yeah.
Right. We all have to be humble. We all have to be positive and help each other and support each other. Sometimes, you're busy, you can't this. Of course, nobody expects everybody to always be available for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? That's not realistic. That's not what I say. But what I'm saying is, please be open, please be humble, and please work towards a bigger goal. Right? 10 people coming to your show is not called an audience. Okay, I can't be more straightforward than this. Don't get egotistic because you have 10 people that come to when you play, they come in front of you.
I'll be thankful if 10 people come
right?
to come to watch me.
Yeah, right? No, it's good. It's a good thing. It's still better than zero.
Exactly, yeah.
But that's not an audience to start negotiating on.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not a negotiable range of audience.
Yes,
if you had 500 people coming and jumping in front of you for you, then you got leverage, then you got audience. Whatever you tell me, sure. Right?
Yeah.
But if I'm building an audience and I'm selling 1,000 tickets to come see you, don't expect that then I'm doing all the work. Where is your work? Where is your contribution, right? It's a collaborative effort. We're building it together. And let's push it. And we've done like with, as a team, we've done so much work to be able to build a platform that does not just depend on the names. So people see the brand and the experience and they come, which is great because then becomes an opportunity for everybody to get familiar to you as a DJ or an artist or a producer or whatever, right? Performer. And appreciate that, take advantage of it, build your own audience, and then come to me and say, hey, look, I sold 50 tickets for your event last time and all money is yours. Great. Perfect, right? But then I'm going to say, you know what? I'm proud of you. I'm happy to pay you $1,000 next time, maybe. Fixed fee, right? Because now you have a brand. And your brand is going to help my brand. Because before that, you're milking my brand. Like I'm, honestly, right? So there is so much you can milk out of my brand. Then the rest of it, there is no point for me to have you, right? Then build your own brand as well. I'm helping you build your own brand. Like it's going to be that. I really want to see a little bit more energy in the scene, right? People a little bit more hustling, a little bit more, grind, a little bit more, let's go, passion, trigger, like, be a little bit more aggressive in growing, not into just, pay me more. That's not being aggressive. That's not the right aggressive. The right aggressive is like, build your own audience, build your fame, build your name, and, use organizers that are booking you to absolutely take advantage of it, right? But then really work on it. Work behind the scenes, have marketing plan, go outside of the city, contact people, send your songs or send your sets to people, try to get a booking outside of the city. It's valuable, even if it's Calgary, even if it's Toronto, even if it's Seattle, better to be even in the US. Mexico, now we have friends who are throwing parties in Mexico from Vancouver. Connect with them, go play there. That gives you a little edge. That gives you a little experience. I love that, right? I want to see that. I think people have been, and main reason is, of course, most of local DJs are not professional DJs, right? And, again, I get it. I haven't been a professional business owner for the first few years of our business. I've been only last 2.5 years, I became fully independent and, started doing the business. It's tough. Of course, you got to pay the bills, right?
Yes, yeah.
But you want to grow, put that extra time, put that extra effort, is your passion, work for it. It doesn't come for free.
Mate, I really, really appreciate you coming on. It's been a pleasure. I think you've explained a lot about how, you started the drinking, the cocktail, to creating events, creating an amazing event in Vancouver, how the planning behind things, that we don't just see the tip of the iceberg of success, it's the whole thing underneath it that makes this sort of stuff. I think social media paints a picture of 15-second success when realistically you've explained that, it's good for other people who are artists, musicians, you name it, whatever, who want to start their own thing. It takes time, it takes consistency, it takes hard work and passion. but it will pay off eventually, and it will.
It will. And I really appreciate, give me the opportunity to be here. It's a passion journey, and I want to share our passion journey with everybody. And again, we're open to help and support each other to grow. Sky's the limit. The city has opportunity, and we don't just stick to the city, beyond, because we want to mix and mingle all the cultures together. Let's build something really strong. Let's make Vancouver become a unique center point of cool, music, rave, art experiences and parties in at least North America, with a give and get influence with neighboring places that have already established businesses. We can make it. We can make it together. The scene is fresh. The scene is growing, and I'm all for it. Let's do it. I can't wait. I'm excited, and I can't wait to, again, help each other and grow as big as we can be.
Awesome, mate. Appreciate it for you coming on. And
thank you so much.
Well, we'll look forward to your next party. And I'll link all your stuff down in the description of the video.
Yes.
And
November 17th, Vancouver Aquarium. The first time actually a party of this scale with music, especially with electronic music, is going to be at Vancouver Aquarium. They do have, after dark, that aquarium organization arranges themselves.
Yeah.
Is a little bit more mainstream and more kind of not the kind of things that we do in the community of, our community. So it's going to be exciting.
It's going to be a whole experience.
There's a whole experience. Imagine, you got the music, and you got like you're walking down the hallways with all the creatures like that are the most fascinating, colorful creatures that are alive. They're alive. They're looking at you. They're dancing to the music with you.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing, right? It's absolutely mind blowing. And it's going to be really fun. It's going to be really different. It's going to be very, I don't know. I can't even explain it, because this is the first time for us. So, we experience it with you at the same time.
Yeah, we're just going to ride the waves with you. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Nice one, mate. Thanks very much again.
Thank you.